Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. There's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la. Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand.
Welcome to all those who are tuning in to the broadcast, Singapore and Bangalore and other places. We're happy to have you with us this morning. And also congratulations to all the new Kriya Bonds and old Kriya Bonds that came last night. It was a very profound and deep ceremony. And our prayer is that you take these blessings with you and keep you. They will keep you in the light until you find the freedom that you're seeking. This morning I'm going to begin with a reading from Whispers from Eternity. And this is a book of prayers and poems by Paramahansa Yogananda. And this one is called, O Divine Sculptor, Chisel Thou My Life. Every sound that I make, let it have the vibration of Thy voice. Every thought that I think, let it be saturated with the consciousness of Thy presence. Let every feeling that I have glow with Thy love. Let every act of my will be impregnated with Thy divine vitality. Let every thought, every expression, every ambition be ornamented by Thee. O divine sculptor, chisel Thou my life according to Thy design. And this is a reading from the Bhagavad Gita, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 18. Absorb yourself in me, be wholly devoted to me, worship and bow to me alone. So shall you undoubtedly reach me. This I promise you faithfully, for you are dear to me. Forsaking all other dharmas, duties, remember me alone. I will free you from all sin, even from that of not fulfilling other lesser duties. Do not grieve. In Swamiji's commentary, man's highest duty is to love God. All dharma serves the highest end of developing one-pointed, single-hearted devotion to and love for God, the supreme and finally, the only beloved. We told the story earlier of how Krishna once asked Drupadi, "Why don't you practice the techniques of yoga meditation?" And Drupadi answered, "I would love to, Lord, but how can I do so when I can't take my mind away from you long enough to practice them?" Hearing her reply, we said Krishna only smiled. This is what Krishna means here about lesser duties. Of course, the correct practice of yoga includes doing it with deep devotion. One should not take his mind away from God in order to practice it. Nevertheless, if the river of energy in the spine is flowing strongly upward through the heart to the brain, what further techniques are needed? Yoga techniques have the sole purpose of directing that energy upward for those who can be helped by that extra nudge. It's one of my favorite chapters in the Bhagavad Gita because it boils everything down, all the earlier chapters, the whole book. It boils our lives down to the single point of the purpose of our existence. And that purpose of our existence is to love God. And it takes so many years to find that out, really. Because when we're born, the world is designed to pull us away from the very essence of why we were born in the first place. And from the very moment we take the first breath, we're drawn outside of our spine and our soul, and we're beginning to engage in this world. And then it starts. All of the commitments, all of the attachments, all the desires that are locked in the spine come forth little by little by little. First in the infant stage, then in the toddler stage, then in the teenage stage, and then the adult stage. And then we're firmly planted in this world with the idea that the purpose of our life is to be a success in this world. It's very subtle, and it grabs you very mysteriously. But then all of a sudden we have forgotten that purpose, why we came into this world, to love God and to find God and to free ourselves from these attachments and desires that are binding us to the thought that we are not part of a greater reality, when we are a part of a greater reality. When I was a young girl, I had this recurring thought. All my life I had it, but as a young girl, and I'll share it with you, that thought was, it was very simple. What's my purpose in life? Why was I born? Why am I here? And I had that over and over again. And as life went on, and I'd look around me, and, I had an okay family, an okay life. Why was I born? I had this, and as I grew older, became a yearning in my soul, a very apparent thought. What's it for? Why was I born? What's my purpose in life? And nobody could answer it for me. I would go to church and pray, what's my purpose in life? And nothing would happen. I would get my first communion. What's my purpose? Nothing would happen. So I just went on and on and on until that yearning became so strong that I couldn't ignore it anymore, and I had to get an answer. And I know that's the way it is for all of us. You have that yearning in your heart to be connected again to the source of our love, to the source of our life. We have that yearning, and you want to know how to complete that soul connection. You want to know. And so I was very, very frantic one night. I was in my 20s, and finally I just had it out with God. I had it out with him. I'm Irish, and I can be really feisty. And I lived near the beach, which you all live near the beach, you lucky people. I lived near the beach, and I went down to the beach at night with my little dog, Danny. And it was dark, and it was very brave of me because I never went anywhere at night by myself. But I'd had it. I wanted an answer to my question. So I sat on the beach, and it was pouring rain. And there was my little dog, Danny, wondering, what is she doing? I want to go home, But I wasn't going to budge. And so I sat on a rock at the beach, and I just started having it out with God. Why was I born? Why am I here? What's my purpose in life? I'm not leaving till I get an answer. It was very Bollywood. You would have loved it. But it's true. It's a true story. And so I just prayed and prayed and prayed, and the rain was coming down and the waves were crashing. And then many, many hours later, I stayed there for a very long time, I got a tiny glimpse of calmness in my heart, which I've never felt before. I'd never felt that calmness. I'd always been frustrated about, you know how you just have that restless feeling in your heart. But when you feel that calm, you know it's something. It's a real experience. And I felt that calmness in my heart. So I said, okay, I don't know the purpose yet, but I'm going to go home. So I went home, and that very next day, a friend of mine, a spiritual friend, called me. Very next day. And she said, she was my spiritual pilgrim. We used to go on, we would go to psychics and crystal gazing and macrobiotic. Anything you can think of is very interesting, trying to find out what are we here for? Anything that was not normal, we went to go see. So she called me that morning, and she said, hey, I've got someplace we can go. And I said, what, Gloria? And she said, there is a disciple of a God-realized master speaking in a bookstore in Palo Alto. And I said, a disciple? I didn't know what a disciple was. God-realized master? Who knew what that was? I said, oh, Gloria, come on, And I said, okay, I'll go. So she picked me up that night. She took me to the bookstore in Palo Alto, And I walked in the door. Honestly, I walked in the door and I knew I was home. I knew it. I knew it was the answer to my question. I hadn't spoken to anybody. I hadn't read anything. I hadn't heard anything. But I walked in that door at Ananda, at the bookstore, and I knew I was home. It was the answer to my question. And then I sat and I listened to Swami Kriyananda speak. And then I knew this was the purpose of my life, because he talked about what the purpose of life is. That was the title of the talk. What is the purpose of life? Loving God. Can you imagine? And all these years, whenever I look back on that, whenever I get depressed or discouraged, because it happens. You don't reach these heights and then stay that way for your whole life. They come in a great cloud of glory, and you're so inspired, and you think it's going to last forever, and then boom, karma hits, and you say, where am I? What happened to that? But each one of us has that memory of what was that moment? What was that feeling that you had, that knowing? Nobody can tell you what it is. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can explain it. Only you know. And that's the knowing. That's the still small voice within which God speaks to us through. That's the knowing. And many times over the years when I've gotten off, I go back to that moment, because that was truth. That was the most true moment of my life, when I found out the purpose of life was to find God. Not even that I had found God. He didn't appear. I didn't go into samadhi and leave this world, but I knew I was going to try. I knew that's what my life was going to be about. And so I steadfastly over the years, 40 years now, just remember that. Every day I try to thank God for that moment. And we each have that feeling. So important to remember, because karmically, everything led you to that moment. You were ready. I was ready to let go of the attachment of the world, to let go of the attachment of what people think I should do, to let go of my desire to be successful in the world. I was ready. I didn't know where I was going to go from there. And so right when I was ready, that's when the Guru appeared. That's when Master came. That's when God came. It has to be ripe. You have to be ready. And in order to reach that point, we have to be open. We have to be trusting that God indeed is guiding our lives. He's never for a moment not guided our life. Never for a moment. Think of the story of Lahiri Mahashaya in the autobiography of a yogi. How he was with Lahiri Mahashaya the whole time. Lahiri Mahashaya said, "Why did you wait till I was married with kids and a job and I'm 33? Why did you wait so long, Babaji, to come to me?" He said, "I was never away from you. I was never away from you. I was watching you in the cosmos, in your past incarnations. I was with you. And when the time was ripe, then I appeared." And that's what the Guru does. When the disciple is ready, the Guru appears, and he will. If your yearning is strong enough, and for each one of us in this room, and each one of us listening, and all of us on the spiritual path in today's world, we are ready, because we've seen what the world will bring. Disappointment, disillusionment. Maybe you might get a great job and you'll be happy for a few days or a few weeks or years, but pretty soon you'll start feeling empty inside again. This world will only bring you emptiness, because this world is a delusion. It's made of Maya. It can't bring you permanent bliss. It can't bring you happiness. It can't bring you unconditional love. It will find a reason to keep you attached and separate from your own higher self. That's what the world does, and it's tricky, because it makes it look all good, in the beginning. It all is so beautiful, and it looks beautiful, and the colors, and the success, and the feeling, and the advertisements on the radio, and oh my gosh, when you get that car, you are going to be so happy. And then you go out and somebody hits it, and then you're not so happy. Where's the bliss? Where's the bliss? The only bliss that is lasting is within your own heart, within your own soul. And that's why the Gurus have come in this age. And that's why we're here in India, just to find our brothers and sisters on the path. We were missing you, so we had to come to India. But we've all done this together before. Swami said, we said we would ask him about, our spiritual family and how we can do this. We don't know how to build a community. And he said, oh, yes, you do. You've done it before in the astral world. And so you have to tune in. And he said, meditate deeply. Draw on that guidance. Go inside. Ask the guru. He'll tell you. But you've done it before. We've all done this before. There's a certain familiarity when you find your spiritual path. It's like, these are my brothers and sisters in God. I know you. Maybe we've not spent any time in this world together, but we know each other. There's that connection, the spiritual connection that nothing can tear asunder, because we all love God and we all want God, and we all have that as the purpose in our life right now. We have that. We wouldn't even be here. And we will find God in this life if we work hard enough. And by working hard, I don't mean being stressed out and, getting freaked out because the internet's not working and, just having everything perfect on the physical plane and, not getting stressed. Being in God, letting the world just go. Sooner or later, everything passes. This too shall pass. Everything passes. All this trouble, it's all going to be gone, but we're going to be here. Our soul is here. And when we're connected to our higher self and to God and Guru, it's a blessing that nobody can even imagine. It's the highest blessing to have a true Guru and to love God. It's the highest blessing to have the karma to even want to know God. That's what Master said. He said, you have very, very, very good karma, even to want to know God. Isn't that a blessing? Just think about these sayings of Master. Read the essence of self-realization. Swamiji was with Master many, many years, and he wrote down everything Master said in that book, also Conversations. He kept voluminous notes, and he shared them with us in this book. And we were there when he published that book, the first book, Essence of Self-Realization. And he said, I have been given a gift of perfect memory. I can remember every word my Guru said, and I can remember the feeling that he said it with. And then he wrote down these sayings. And there's so much in that book, direct guidance from the Guru, direct guidance from God, the essence of self-realization. And what is the essence of self-realization? Loving God. That's the essence. And someday we'll all be there. Swamiji made so much impression on this world with his spiritual gifts that he's given. And he used to write chants. And one of my favorite chants that really I listened to over and over and over again when I first came was, when I awake, I will see thy face. When I awake, I will feel thy joy. Hand in hand, dancing together in thy light. That's not the exact words, but the last part is. Dancing together in thy light. And that's what we're doing. We're dancing together in the light. Isn't that wonderful? We found each other, and we can be a community of souls that are seeking God. Very rare on this earth. Very rare. Most people are seeking their own fulfillment. But once we finally get that, we should cling to it. Cling to me, it says in the Gita. Cling to me. And we must understand that we have so much support in a spiritual family with the satsang. Satsang is the most important thing to keep us on the spiritual path in this world, because you create a vibration around you of protection. And also then you are able to perform your dharma in a loving way, because you're free to be in God and to share the way God wants to share through you. Each one of us has a gift. Each one of us has a dharma. Each one of us has a way to serve God. One's not better than the other. It's our particular path. It's our particular individual spark of the infinite that Divine Mother has given us so that we can share that in a special way. Anything you do with God is putting out good vibrations in this world. Anything, with joy and laughter. The singing of the song is so beautiful this morning. So beautiful. So much energy. So much sweetness. So much humility. And it's the beauty of being on this spiritual path together, is that those qualities manifest And they really do come out. We don't even know. We don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, today I'm going to manifest humility. And, and then everybody will tell me how humble I am. No, it's giving your life to God and having him flow through you. He flows through you. And in whatever way he wants, whatever way. We don't have a preconceived idea of who he's going to touch, what hearts he's going to change through our vibration. We don't. How can we know that? But we can be in tune with him and open our hearts and let him flow through us in everything that we do, just like that whispers reading, every achievement, every action, every word. It's all God. And so in humility, we should live our lives. And Haridas and I are very, very happy to be with you all today, and he's going to say a few words. So God bless you, and thank you for having us here in Chennai. I've been saying it wrong. I've been saying Chennai or whatever. But Dharma said it's Chennai. So God bless you.